Welcome to the Lippis Report.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Lippis Report podcast. I'm Nick Lippis, your host for today's discussion with Jan Hickisch, who is the Vice President of Portfolio Management UCC Platforms and Endpoints at Siemens Enterprise Communications. Well, in this Lippis Report podcast, we're talking about extending the unified communications experience to mobile endpoints and at scale. Well, let me give you a brief intro to the topic before I bring Jan into the general discussion. Well, Unified Communications, or UC, has not been able to provide a consistent user experience spanning desktop to mobile devices, including iOS, iPhones, and iPads, plus Android. In addition, most implementations require multiple mobile applications to access presence, messaging, directory, contacts, and, of course, the communications application itself. Well, IT business leaders have struggled with UC fragmentation challenges thanks to multi-site, multi-business, multi-time zones, multi-language, and the highly mobile nature of large organizations. With the growth of BYOD, a greater number of mobile workers have been cut off from existing corporate UC communication tools. In addition, multi-vendor UC deployment solutions cause high cost and create additional communication barriers that need not be there. Well, Siemens has just launched a new version of OpenScape Unified Communications Suite V7 to simplify UC on iOS and Android, plus address the scale issue. Well, in this Lippis Report podcast, I talk with Jan Hickisch from Siemens Enterprise Communications about the new version of OpenScape and how it provides UC scale and mobility. Well, with that said, say hello, Jan, and welcome to the Lippis Report podcast.
Hello, Nick. Great to be here and talk to you about the latest version of OpenScape Unified Communications.
Jan, great. Well, I'm really happy that you're here because this is such an important discussion for the industry to really talk about how UC gets integrated into mobility and at scale. So let's start. So first, let's start with a discussion about the problems with current UC offerings and the market changes that they haven't been able to keep up with yet. So let's start with that.
Yeah, so first of all, I think it's important to mention that most of the solutions being in the market were not able to deliver to the promises of unified communications. So they're delivering to, let's say, certain elements of unified communications, but they struggle to deliver really a common user experience across all the media channels, which is important because that's why it's unified communication.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So that right, if it's only good in one media and not good in another media, it's kind of fragmented communication. So so very good.
And I think also important to mention, it's not just about the communication itself, but also how communication is embedded in the customer's environment. And that's the second point where most of the solutions are struggling. They are just delivering to the end user, but they do not take care how it is implemented in the environment. So it's kind of still a break from the communication to the business applications of our customers.
Jan, from a scale perspective, how has OpenScape been designed to support up to 500,000 users? So what are the key architectural components that enable that?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm very happy that we are able to announce OpenScape scaling up to 500,000 users. And we did a couple of things coming from version 6. First of all, we were introducing unified communication clusters, which are taking care for certain elements out of that scale. So a cluster is now able to deliver up to 40,000 users, which is great. And within those clusters, we made a couple of interesting and important changes to the architecture. So we were exchanging a database, using a data cache, and we were also switching from 30-bit to 64-bit Java engine, which gives us the great increase in the numbers of users. And the UC clusters itself, they are now able to interwork seamlessly with each other. So now we are able to really grow up to 500K users. And it's not important whether one user is sitting on the one cluster or on the other cluster. They are just communicating, and they do not have to take care for that.
Yeah, well, very, very good. Because like when you're scaling up to that level, that speaks volumes for both very large enterprises and also cloud implementations of OpenScape.
Yeah, absolutely. So of course we are targeting for the big customers, but we are also targeting for cloud implementations. And there's even another use case, what we are targeting to, especially for distributed organizations. The new structure of the OpenScape solution is providing a great advantage. And of course, the base for all and everything is our great architecture, our SOA framework, which is allowing us to really be very flexible and implement for that kind of deployments.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. Okay, so both we talked about kind of scaling up to kind of cloud and large enterprise, but also let's go to mobile computing, because that's really where the user interface has kind of shifted to over this last business cycle. So can we talk a little bit about how to extend and simplify UC into mobile devices, which is, as we know, a huge industry requirement right now. So what does OpenScape UC kind of Suite version 7 deliver now to kind of simplify mobile communications? And how also you have this really cool feature, which I love. It's the kind of the call swipe feature. So we got to talk a little bit about that, and explain how that works.
Yeah, for sure, we'll do. But before going into detail here, let me explain first that for us it's very important that mobility is not just the add-on, which is coming somewhere later on top of the solution, but it's really built in. So mobility first is our statement. So we are designing for a mobile workforce. It's not just to be able to use a mobile phone, but really take care for the workforce, which is really going mobile more and more. So it's the mobile client, it's a voice portal which supports mobile workers when being out, which they can call in. So it's a lot. It's not just one thing. But now coming back to your question, talking about version 7, of course, the most important thing is that we have harmonized our mobile clients. So the SIP and FMC functionality, as well as the UC functionality, they are now built into one client with a seamless user experience, great user experience. And the call swipe is one of our favorite things we are offering. And yeah, so I'm excited about it as well. And it's always great to use. So for instance, in a situation, you're sitting in the office, but you have to leave because you need to catch a plane. You just swipe by tipping on your touch screen and moving over the call from your desk phone to your mobile phone, and you leave. And your communication partner doesn't even get noticed about it. So it's really a seamless handover of the call. And it's the same way when you get back to the office. So you come from your car, you have somebody in a car on your loudspeaking unit, and then you get into your office, you're just moving over, swiping over the call again. And it's really as easy putting your finger on your touch screen and moving it to the right or to the left side, and that's it.
Yeah, wow. That's awesome. I love that. We should be able to kind of do a demonstration, maybe on the next podcast. But I want to kind of summarize. There's two things, that I kind of picked up. One, there's the consolidation of the mobile clients, which is really important. All right, so you can, one client now, you have presence, you have directory, and you have all of the features and functions into one client. So you don't have to launch two different, voice clients. So that's really important on mobile endpoints. And then I think the second thing too, and you didn't allude to this, but it's called Fusion, correct? And that is basically the application development environment that allows companies to basically take pieces of OpenScape and embed it into different applications, whether those are desktop applications or mobile applications, and that's really key as well. So you're offering a mobile experience that is not kind of contained in one application, but also can be sprinkled into multiple different mobile applications, correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's an essential part of our solution. So the ability to integrate into any environment is key for us. And of course, that's true for the mobile environment as well. So our Fusion allows us to be very flexible to integrate into any environment. We have pre-packaged integration options already. So for instance, integrating into a Google environment, that's a kind of pre-packaged options. But we also have SDK support for partners, for customers. If they want to go and really build up their own solutions around our unified communications solution, then it's very easy. Just get to the page, get into the partner program, into the SDK, and you can start. And we are providing their code examples. We are providing example applications. And yes, it's great. And in fact, the fantasy is the only border you have. So you can reach out for whatever you need in your company.
Great, Jan. Last question. How do communication managers or IT business architects take advantage of OpenScape, including existing customers as well as prospects?
Yeah, so I think there are two sides. First of all, the typical IT manager is always taking care for the deployment, for the cost of operation. And there we have a great advantage with our solution because of the great architecture, because of the ability to deploy into any environment. We have a great TCO with our solution, which makes the IT managers happy, right? And on the other side, you need to think about the business managers, those who are taking care for the business of the customers. And they're, of course, interested in the higher value applications we are delivering. So let's talk about the mobility. Let's talk about the conferencing. Those are the applications we are delivering into the customer's environment and which they bring really immediate return on investment. And this is the big opportunity for our customers, but also for our partners, because they can leverage those things and build on top again for the customer needs.
Great. Thank you, Jan. Well, we've been talking about Siemens' latest version of OpenScape with Jan Hickisch, who's the Vice President, Portfolio Management, UCC Platforms and Endpoints of Siemens Enterprise Communications. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure for me.
Great. And thank you, everyone, for watching.
That concludes this edition of the Lippis Report. Thank you for joining us. Look for us every Tuesday and Thursday. To get your free subscription to the Lippis Report newsletter, go to www.lippis.com. To sponsor the Lippis Report podcast, send email to sales@lippis.com. We've got to go, and so do you. See you next time.